What's up, my movers and shakers? I'm Dave, this is MS Paints, and this is how to paint a dinosaur. Alrighty, so I have been itching to paint some kind of dinosaur for a little while now. Fans of the channel will remember my older series of making Seraphon great again, and we painted up lizard men and added some non-OCP Directive 4 dinosaurs into the mix. A lot of you have been asking for that series to come back, and this is kind of part of that in everything but name, in that, well, we're going to paint a dinosaur. But this dinosaur is a little bit different. This one is a Quetzalcoatlus, a flying, feathered and also fuzzy dinosaur. Meaning we've got to paint feathers, fur, and also the usual skin tones that we would expect with some kind of prehistoric beast. This print is from the artist formerly known as Lord of the Print, now Rescale Miniatures. It's an incredible model with a kind of weird, sinister calmness to it. Sadly, due to some print warping, we've got a little bit of gap filling to do with Milliput. Instead of dry brushing on some light values, I'm going to do a cheeky blast with some inks through the airbrush. Not really necessary, but it is going to save me some time, and as always, I am very short on time. So before we paint, let's take a look at what this guy might have actually looked like. Skin tones feel fairly easy to achieve, but we've also got these layers of fur and feathers going on, which I think aren't going to be hard, just time consuming. Check out this example by the real Iron Hand. She's managed to create some really nice fur by just layering up hundreds and hundreds of tiny brush strokes and following the curvature of the anatomy to highlight at the same time. This little round of painting is more like a proof of concept thing for me. I've never really done this before, but I figure if real Iron Hand can do it, I should probably take a swing at it. Generally what we're doing is starting with a base color, in this case just a simple grey, and working our way up through the brightness spectrum by adding white. Each application of paint needs to be really thin, or fairly thin at least. Since we're relying on the transparency of being able to see the previous layers that we've applied through the additional layers that are going on top, if that makes sense. That's how we're going to get that complicated layered effect. Cool. With that in mind and being satisfied that this is probably gonna work, I want to get some overall color on this guy using Reichland Flesh Shade. And every color that we apply from this point forward is kind of gonna rotate around that main skin tone. So just keep that in mind. We're going to be using browns, reddy browns, and reddy pinky grays. Move it up.
What's up, guys? Tony B here. I ain't gonna lie to you guys, I just smashed a Apollo El Pomodoro and I am fired up and ready to go. I'm clucking crazy. And I'm here to talk to you about, the Squarespace, guys. Ever thought to yourself, man, I'm such a good chef, but I ain't got no website to tell people what kind of a good chef I am. Me neither, but there's probably one of you out there. Well, now you can, with Squarespace's boundless supply of templates locked and loaded to get you started. That's right, you can pull together a website using templates for portfolios, blogs, vlogs, music, and even recipe pages in just a few minutes. Squarespace cooking with that special sauce. And on top of that, world-class 24-hour customer support means that if you've got an issue, Squarespace is cooking up the answers in the kitchen right away. Squarespace got the steak and the sizzle. Steak and sizzle! What's that? But that's not all there is to it, guys. Hold on. Squarespace also got templates for restaurants. So if you want to go ahead and get all your food hygiene qualifications real quick, just like that, Squarespace gives you the power to make the magic happen with a web page with menus and contact info for your restaurant, guys. And last but not least, every dish gotta have a signature name, and so does every website. So head on over to the Domain Acquisition tab, type in the name you want to give your website, and immediately link the page and to the rest of the world. It's just that easy, guys. Squarespace got steak, sizzle, and seasoning. So come on down to the Squarespace steak website and emporium at squarespace.com/MSPaints and use the code MSPaints at checkout to save yourself 10% off your first website subscription or domain. Sizzle! Steak!
Back to the dinosaur and still working in those browns and reds. Generally I'm stippling on the colours so that they come out a little bit rougher with a kind of a more natural blended look. But also when the brush starts to run out of gas, I move to dry brushing some nearby areas to make the softer gradient between those bolder colours. Okay, now I'm going back to the feather and fur texture. And we're starting with a nice cool brown for the first pass with this. I'm going fairly slow and thick and making sure that I've got a lot of coverage down. It's already a pretty nifty looking texture, but we're going to keep layering and adding to it so that we get better control over where we want to choose our highlights to be. To do this, I'm just adding some creamy bone colours and some off-whites into our wasteland brown mixture and progressively layering up with more tiny brush strokes. As a last layer of feathering, literally feathering, I'm going to make the paint almost totally white, but still keeping that hint of reddy brown in there to tie it all in. Sadly, this effect doesn't come through too brilliantly in the end B-roll, so take note right now that this is pretty much how it actually looks on the finished model. Before we add some finishing touches to tie this guy all together, Tony wants to tell us all about this unique and wonderful dinosaur, so brace yourselves.
Hey fuckos, today we're gonna learn all about this massive son of a bitch, Quetzalcoatlus. That's right guys, the largest airborne creature ever to walk the earth, or fly the earth, whatever. Imagine this guy swooping down and stealing your bag of chips. He'd probably just go ahead and steal you know what I'm saying? Roughly 70 million years ago, this absolute unit, the size of a battleship, ruled the skies and shared the planet with the world's other most overrated dinosaur, the Tyrannosaurus Rex. But what do we know for sure about Quetzalcoatlus? Jack shit. But we can speculate based on what we know of findings of its bones. Some scientists say that this guy was an apex predator, gliding through updrafts and hovering over the ocean like a modern-day seagull or albatross. But I really do doubt that, guys. I really do doubt that. With an estimated body mass of around 200 kilograms, no way was this guy swoop in and dive in and catch a couple of fish. There simply ain't enough gas in the tank to keep something that heavy in the air for that long. It's also been theorized that Quetzalcoatlus was a scavenger that fed off the large sauropod carcasses, much like the modern-day vultures. Get out of here, you big beak son of a bitch, this is my dumpster snack. Oh, but look out, Mr. T-Rex. Here comes another one. Now it's fuck time. But to me, dinosaur expert Tony, this just don't look right. When was the last time you saw a crane or pelican fighting off a chihuahua to chow down on some roadkill? Now, from my experience as a true scientist, I have hypnotized and amputated that the Quetzalcoatlus was in fact a pterosaur that used its long-ass beak and gangly arms to wade into shallow waters and fish for its food supply, while never having to leave the ground. And because I said it, it must be true. So where does this 15-meter wingspan, 200-kilo monster fit into the food chain? Probably pretty high, guys. Not gonna lie to you. Probably pretty high. I mean, look at this thing. It's like a giraffe with a fucking scythe on its face. I deduced through science, in large enough numbers, the Quetzalcoatl probably had very few natural predators. Aside from the large aircraft that... What? Although, there is some conjecture from scientists that this big bastard couldn't even fly at all. And honestly, guys, the jury's taking bumps of coke in the toilets during the recess on this one. But one thing's for sure, guys, when it comes to the unquestionable ruler of the skies, you gotta go with the Quetzalcoatl there. Come near me, you thick-ass chicken, and I'll poke your fucking eyes out. Oh no, I'm the world's greatest predator, and I'm scared. Yeah, you back it up, jerk-off. Alright guys, that's all from me. I hope you learned more than I did today. Great explorer Tony DiStefano, signing out.
Now that weirdness is out of the way, we're going to glaze over those feather layers, mixing in our final highlight of a near white with some glazing medium. The idea is that this brings all of those colours together a little bit better, but it won't darken them down. Some diluted speed paint, sympathetic to our colour choices of course, is going to take some of the chalky edge off of this earlier dry brush that I did on the wings, and again it's going to unify all the colours that we've got so far. Okay, so for Quetzalcoatl's head and neck I wanted to do something a little bit out of the blue, like literally, and add some tropical bird influence. For the neck and crest feathers, I'm doing a dark red and moving up to a primary orange. And then for the beak, I'm dry brushing up to a clean slate of white. And then we're going to mask out some of the areas with blue tack. Blue tack specifically for this job, since it will naturally lean to a more organic shapes that I want. We're going with purple as a base colour, and even though it's fairly time consuming painting it on, peeling the blue tack off and then doing it again and rinse and repeat and rinse and repeat, it does make for some nice shapes. Then I'm incrementally going to add some Ray Gun Glow Blue into this purple. Again, there are not many different actual colours being used on this guy. It's just a case of adding lighter tones to base colours and working up the spectrum. With previous parts of this dinosaur, this was a way to keep the blend smoother, but looking at this beak, I'm going to make a sudden jump in brightness to really pop and make this face the focal point. And then of course it's just a case of mixing a couple of glazes together to taste, using those glazes to bring those highlights down ever so slightly and bring the dark levels up. Okay, so I enjoyed this muchly. Dinosaurs are cool, dinosaurs with riders are even cooler. If you want to see how I did the base, check out this video on Tomb King's base scene on the top right that I did a little while ago. The feather and fur textures don't really stand out in this NB roll because I'm too busy being a complete lens wanker. But if you want to see that, just wind it back a few minutes and see how this guy actually looks on a tabletop with neutral lights. Big thank you to my Patreon community. I'm looking forward to our upcoming gaming weekend in York this month, and thanks to Magic67 for running the community's Hector and Tony painting competition, which seems to be well underway. Don't forget to like and subscribe on your way out, especially if you want to see my upcoming Space Hulk restoration video. Cheers, I'm out of here.